Well, hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Happy hump day here in the beautiful Duke City, known as Albuquerque, New Mexico. We're so excited you guys could join us today. And welcome to our webinar Wednesday. We're excited to have you because we have a really great topic today, a topic that everybody in our community is talking about. And we have brought in some of our resident experts, if you will, our business owners who are really doing the best they can to make it through this time in our world right now. And so we're going to get to introducing them here in just a minute, but we wanted to say thank you to our partners in our webinar series. 5 months now that we've been partnering with New Mexico Tech. We definitely cannot do what we do without them. And so want to thank everybody, Carlos, Matthew, the whole team out there. As always, we appreciate your support, your technical support, and your expertise in building this COVID world that we live in and how to navigate it. So today, guys, we are talking with some of our restaurant owners, some people that know firsthand what is happening. And I know that some of you join us a little bit late, but always remember that you can find a replay of this video on our website at www.ahcnm.org. Just click on the COVID link up top on the main page, drop down to COVID initiatives, and then you can look for this video in there under our local small business support August webinar series. So to get us started, what I'd like to do is just kind of do a round robin, have these gentlemen introduce themselves and tell us what they do. And then we're going to come back and learn a little bit of the history of the business and, they're part of what they do in the community. And then we're going to get into some really meat and potatoes of how COVID has been affecting this industry and their business in particular. So I'm going to go ahead and start just the way that it is on my screen. So over to my right, Mr. Chris Morales, if you could share with us who you are and who do you represent today?
Hello, everybody. I am the representative of Golden Crown Panaderia, or also known as Golden Crown Bakery. We're a little neighborhood bakery. My father started business in 1972. At one time, we were a wholesaler where we supplied 35 restaurants and 4 hotels out of our place. And then in 2002, we cut out all the wholesale business and moved strictly to a retail company. Majority of our business is baked goods. We're about 60% baked goods, breads, pastries, cookies. One of the famous items that we have is our bizcochitos and our New Mexico green chili bread. Bizcochitos will supply Blake's Lauderburger with for every Christmas season for their bizcochito milkshake. That's the only wholesale company that we do now because it's such large volume that we can do. But one of the biggest things that we're getting known for now is our pizzas. We've been rated top 50 pizzas in the country. So it's our pizzas, our sandwiches, and then we also roast our own coffee in-house. So that's pretty much kind of a nutshell of everything that we do. We used to have dine-in seating for our place, and then we have a really big patio as well. But all that is shut down because of COVID. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of pretty much what we do and how we do it. And we've been around for a very long time and plan to be around for another 30, 40 years too.
Well, we will make sure that we do our part in helping Chris, you and your dad. You have delicious sandwiches, and of course, I know you say your staples bizcochitos, but you know me, I'm a regular for your empanadas. So I know we all have our favorites, but you are definitely our neighborhood bakery. So welcome. We look forward to hearing more from you. We're going to move over to Jeremy Ortiz, who is right down to the other side of me. Jeremy, tell us about who you're with and who you're representing, and tell us a little bit about your business.
Hello, my name is Jeremy. I'm the owner of Roll & Dash Ice Cream. So I have one located in the Cottonwood Mall and then one right outside of the Cottonwood Mall in Cottonwood Park. And then hopefully in a couple months, I have my 3rd location opening up in Santa Fe next to the movie theater. So I started this business about 2 years ago. I really wanted to start like a family business, and what's better than rolled ice cream. So we started it up. My father helps with a lot of the constructions. We do all the build outs. We do everything in-house. And yeah, that's pretty much what we do. It's just handmade rolled ice cream. We have been affected just like every other business. The lack of traffic just in the mall and general population and all is really hitting us hard. I think something that would have really took our business off if we had a drive-through implemented, but hindsight is always 2020. So
there we go. We want to hear more about that. And we're going to talk about some of the creative ways that some of the businesses and restaurants around the city have been doing things like that. So we'll get back here just shortly with you, Jeremy, on that. But hold on to that thought because we want to talk about that drive-up concept. And speaking of drive-up concept, I'd like to say, definitely probably one of the most drive-ups in the city. But if you guys could help me welcome Sagar, if you could introduce yourself and talk about your company.
Hi, everybody. My name is Sagar Grover, and I'm with Twisters. And for those of you who don't know Twisters, it's a local chain based in Albuquerque. We have 18 locations in the Albuquerque area, and I'm counting Rio Rancho, Bernalillo, and the Isleta Pueblo area. We have 2 locations in Colorado, but I think most of the audience here is New Mexico based. And of those locations, most of them have drive-throughs. So of the 18 we have in town, 16 of them have drive-throughs, and 1 is in the university, which actually opened today. So that's been closed for many, many months, and then the university opening back up, and we opened that finally back up today. And then we have 1 location off of the Jefferson area, which is in a business park area, which no drive-through, but all other 16 locations all around town, ready to serve you with drive-through. And we actually won Albuquerque's Best Takeout Award last year and Albuquerque's Best Burrito Award last year. So if you don't know our menu, it's burritos, burgers, and wings. Actually, we added back in January. So we have a lot of stuff that you can get through drive-through that maybe not get anywhere else. If you go to Wingstop, you got to wait 20 minutes for your order. We can get it in a drive-through at Twisters. So I'm sure we'll talk some more, but yeah, Twisters is open and our drive-throughs are ready to serve you.
Great, thank you so much, and we're gonna talk a little bit about some of the things we've done with you guys over the past couple months coming up. But I want to say thank you again to the panel. We appreciate you guys being with us today. So we all know that we are living in this strange time. I think it's unprecedented, nothing like our economies have ever seen before. And so one thing that we know is super important is we have to learn from each other. We have to figure out what are things that business owners are doing, what are they doing to try to set themselves apart, and what are they doing to continue to stay open. So the sad news is many restaurants will close and have already closed during this time that will never reopen. And that is really, really hard for the economy as a whole. It affects everybody. It affects everybody at every level when businesses close. And so one of the points that we here at the chamber have been regularly dealing with is employees. How do we get our employees situated? How do we handle employees? And I know that for the most part, most businesses have had to furlough and or let go. And so I guess to kind of start this conversation first, to talk about how you've had to restructure with employees, I want to start with Twisters because, the very first phone call that we got literally at the end of March, I believe it was from Sagar saying, we do not want to furlough. We do not want to let go of our employees. What can we do? And we did a few things, including a really successful Feed the Front Lines program. But I believe to this day, you guys have stayed true to what you wanted to do with your employees. So Sagar, expand on that a little bit. And let's talk about, some of the pros and the cons of being able to keep your staff employed and how is it affecting you moving forward?
Yeah, thanks, Shannon. The Feed the Frontlines program was great, and we're actually continuing to do that. We just dropped off 75 burritos at UNM Hospital this morning, so keep looking for that. And yeah, as far as not furloughing anybody, letting anybody go, we had a lot of people who were scared, and they just, in a restaurant business, you have a lot of hourly staff, a lot of part-time people, a lot of, maybe high school kids that live with their parents and stuff. So I can say with good faith that I didn't let anybody go. I didn't furlough anybody, but at the same time, it'd be a little bit unfair to say that, our employee count didn't change, because it did. But it was more by the employee's choice, not as an employer choice. We never even pushed anybody in that direction. We just had a lot of people panic. And that it actually created a different problem because we wanted to stay open and we needed to hire a lot of people. So we're still about 40 employees short of where we want to be. So if you guys know anybody or need anything, want to refer somebody, send them our way for sure. But yeah, we had drive-throughs the whole time, and we were able to kind of readjust schedules, readjust hours, and we kept our locations open. The 2 locations without drive-throughs that had to close because there wasn't any business or the university was closed, we gave those employees an opportunity to go work at other locations. Some of them took that, some of them didn't take that. but really we didn't push anybody out that way. And for us, it's really about, I mean, we kind of had two phases of this COVID hit simultaneously or in succession, really. One was the rush on grocery stores that happened in early March, and then just kind of, I mean, people, a lot more fear, a lot more uncertainty in the economy and in the environment. So March and April, it was what's going on. I mean, huge sales hit. Everything was kind of going down, and it was, okay, how do we cut our losses? So it was about, I secured a line of credit with our bank. Renegotiated every contract, extended payment terms. We did everything that we could that was not, I mean, for us, it's about people, product, and purpose, right? We want to keep our product good. We want to take care of our people and deliver on our purpose to serve the community as every way we can. So I said, okay, we're not going to compromise on those things. What are the things that we can compromise on? And that was all of our, we talked to every single vendor that we work with and figured out, I mean, even on their side, who's in business, who's not in business, and figure out what we can do from there. So that was some of the early steps. And then as the last couple of months have shown us, I mean, sales have been ramping up slowly and then not so slowly. Like I remember on Cinco de Mayo, I mean, we just weren't prepared at all. And there was just a rush, I mean, on our stores. I mean, we just never expected it. So so that's been a challenge. And so now we have drive-throughs where we're hitting a different challenge, is that, okay, what hours are really the most optimal hours? Because we used to open at 5:30 in the morning, but that breakfast work traffic really isn't there right now. Some locations are in commercial areas, they're way down, but other locations, the residential areas are way up. So instead of being a smooth across the board, it's some people may go to Flisters and say, oh, they're really busy. Well, that location may be really busy, but another one may not be really busy. So you have that feedback bias of you only see what you see kind of thing. You don't see the non-busy ones because nobody's going there. So it's kind of adjusting and making sure that we have the right people, the right resources in the right place to make sure everything works.
So, I'm really glad that you brought that up, because I actually spent about an hour on the phone this morning with a new member. I'm not going to say the name yet, but they're another large chain here in Albuquerque, somewhat local, but their biggest problem that they're facing right now is their drive-ups and their lines that are wrapped around the blocks, and everybody going, oh, well, they're not suffering because they're just, business out the back door. And she goes, really, the problem that we have is we have no staff. We're running a 12-person per shift staff on 4. And so the lines are because we're backed up and we're a lot slower. And, we're struggling with employees right now and keeping them employed because of, the money that's being issued. So want to tackle that here in just a minute, but I want to move over to Jeremy real quick. And you have a little bit of a different circumstance because the malls were closed. So let's talk to you a little bit about what's been happening with your employees over the last few months.
So yes, unfortunately, the mall, I had zero control over one of my locations closing. So you kind of just have to go with the flow. Just like Grover, we had a issue trying to establish when the optimal hours of operation were, because they seemed like they kind of shifted. So we were kind of just like going in the dark there. We lost about half of our employee base just because the mall was closed for so long that they had to find something. And then with, like you said, with the additional money that was being issued through unemployment, I don't think everyone is too excited to go, back to work and get back on things. So unfortunately, that's just a reality that we all live in. So we kind of just go with the flow. So the location that was outside of the mall, that one that I did have control over. Still, it's interesting because people were, seem not too sure about wanting to go out. And if for whatever reason, they feel a lot more safe going through, drive-throughs and having to risk going out into situations where things are a necessity, like grocery stores or doctor's appointments and things like that. So, we kind of just, have to go with the flow with it. Unfortunately, some things are just out of your control, and we just, make the best of it. And now that we are able to open again, we're just implementing all the practices to make everyone feel, as most comfortable as they can. So.
Yeah, and I want to come back to you, Jeremy, on your new location, because that's something else that's pretty crazy. I know several restaurants that have actually opened locations during this time, and it's a scary time. So we want to talk to you about that. I want to move over to Chris for a little bit. Chris, it takes a lot of people to run a bakery. I mean, there's no way that we can even guess what you guys do and the amount of hours that goes into, to prep and preparing, your treats for the community. So tell us a little bit about how your employee situation has been over the last few months and kind of what you're looking at going forward to get back to some sort of normalcy, I guess, if you will.
So at the very beginning, I had quite a few employees who were Native Americans, and because what was happening on the reservations, they decided that they wanted to go home and take care of family. So we didn't want to let anybody go, but when they want to be able to go home and take care of family, that's more important than actually the business. So they parted ways. Because of that, we decided to close down 2 days a week instead of just 1 day a week. So in our business, we always have to have 1 day of prep. So even though we're closed to the public, inside the place, we're making tons of cookies and tons of empanadas and doing all the work that it takes to supply 6 days worth of baking in the place. So you can't do that with being open. It's virtually impossible in our business. So what we decided to do is, since we had a reduction in staff, we decided to close 2 days a week, and we're able to still keep that 1 day for production for our team. So we kind of like consolidated a lot of the production into the work week, so that everybody still gets 2 days off. So in our situation, we pay our people quite a bit. We don't have teenagers that work for us. We have people who've picking this as more of a career. And so our labor cost is like really up because the wages that we're paying is so much higher. So that was the big thing, was changing the days of the week that we're open. We're still open from 7 o'clock in the morning till 8 o'clock at night. So it's just kind of the reduction. I normally just kind of used to work during the day, and my day manager, we have now moved over to night. So I close every single night of the week. It's really important for me to make sure that they still have like their paid vacation. So all my employees get paid vacation. So when they want to take times off, they do that. So right now, everybody else is able to kind of enjoy life. And for me, it's the happiness of it. At the very beginning, we had a big struggle with the nervousness from the whole team of customers coming in, because we do get a lot of tourists. We've been on the Food Network, we've been on Diners, Dives, and Drive-ins. We've been in the New York Times, Wall Street Journal. We have a ton of tourists that come through. And so because of that, makes things a little bit different for us, because, we're getting people from Arizona and Texas and Florida and New York. And so they're traveling through. So one of the things that we have is all kids get a free cookie. So when anybody walks into the place, we give them a bizcochito and then they eat it inside the place. We had to cut that out because that's the whole problem with COVID, is if they're eating the product, then they're touching everything, then you're getting everything infected. So that was a big thing that we changed. We used to have dine-in. We cut out all the dine-in. We pulled out all the tables and chairs. So it's more of a lobby type of thing. And then our patio, we have refused to open up our patio. The biggest thing is because we don't have the systems in place. We don't have the staff to properly sanitize everything. And we're not going to carry food out to customers anymore. We used to have like kind of a wait staff bring the food out to you. We're not going to do that anymore as well. So we're in the transition phase right now of how do we handle our current volume of customers? Because the first 3 weeks sales dropped. And when they dropped like that, we had to use our own personal cash reserves to be able to pay for everything. There was no PPP loan. There was no loans out there. There was no money. So everything's like the walls are coming down on you. So I pretty much emptied out my bank accounts to make sure that my employees never have to worry for a paycheck, that all the bills are paid for the business, and that we were able to still buy a product and stuff. So we really moved into the hunkering down mode with the place. The biggest benefit that we've done to adjust for this is we cut out all phone call orders. We're not doing phone call orders anymore. And I was looking at it, it takes approximately between 5 to 10 minutes to take a food order over the phone. Breads, cookies, pizzas, sandwiches, whatever it is. So we've switched it strictly to all online ordering, and that's been our saving grace. And now we're seeing our sales go up. We're more efficient in getting people their food, and we're quicker at it, at everything that we're doing. And then we also added the delivery service, Uber Eats, Grubhub, DoorDash, Postmates. And those systems there, one of the biggest problems is you get to order on a tablet and then you have to re-enter the system into your POS. So we're in a transition from switching from that type of style system to a new POS system that actually has all the orders come directly into it. So we don't have to worry about that as well. So that should knock off another 10 minutes worth of time, depending how big the order is. And we can more focus that on production instead of doing that interaction with the customer. It's incredibly expensive to take food orders. And a lot of people don't think about that. And a lot of people think that, you have a walk-in service, it's a requirement. We're not doing that anymore. We're pretty much cutting it out to the point, like, I'm not sure if you guys been to the New York airport, where even restaurants, full-scale restaurants, have tablets on there. Yeah. There's not even a waitress anymore. Every order is through that. So that's kind of the style that we're moving to be able to handle the business that we currently have with the smaller amount of team that we have. And it's really showing that we're able to turn around. And matter of fact, our sales are starting to pick up too.
So that's interesting, Chris, that you say that, because what that says to me is, which I know we've experienced at the chamber. We're not a restaurant, but we've experienced it as an organization, is this creativity and kind of being a little bit genius about how we're going to change some of our SOPs or our processes to kind of fulfill this space. So it sounds like, as much as we hate to say something positive out of COVID, but, maybe moving to more of a virtual style, is going to help, especially with the smaller businesses, with their employees and their time that is spent on that kind of stuff. So with that being said, I want to move back over to Sagar and talk a little bit about, you guys have done, online, and I know you guys have catering and different things. So what are you guys doing now that's a little bit different? What has changed for you guys in the way that you do day-to-day business to kind of adjust to COVID within so many restaurants? Because you're I tried to get a group that kind of represented all types of businesses today, and you're representing a large group of stores. So talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so for us, the challenge is twofold. I mean, on one hand, you have the changes that you need to actually adapt and everything to the circumstances that you're facing with, and we have quite a few of those. On the other hand, you're dealing with 20 different store managers. They have to communicate this to train, educate, and say, okay, you're not doing it the way that you did it a month ago or 3 months ago or 6 months ago. Some of our managers have been here with us for 15 years. And so you got to get them to kind of unwind some of those habits. And yes, they've been a great manager. That's why they've been here 15 years. Forget everything. Do this now. And so like just that training and teaching component is a whole other challenge. I had to bring in, I created 3 new positions: a director of safety, a corporate trainer, and I know a lot of companies have corporate trainers. We never had one, but I brought a specific one in so he could really double down and focus on this. And we just brought on a new COO as well, who brings 30 years of experience from Panera Bread and really a system-driven company, and brought them over to us. So those 3 new, above store level positions that we created to really just focus on the people side. Now, as far as the changes to our business, some of that is something that we wanted to do. Online ordering had been on our radar for a long time. How do we implement that? So we actually partnered with Lavu, another local business, to roll out their online ordering product, which is called the Menu Drive. And that's been working well. Just like Chris was talking about, instead of having different tablets for every different thing, it already goes straight into the POS. And with that, we have our own delivery built in. We have curbside as an option, and just pickup. So when you order online, you have 3 choices to make that happen. And then of course we were with the different third parties as well. And then we have drive-through, and with drive-through, it's like, okay, how can we take orders outside and put new systems in place? So we're testing a few different things at a couple different locations to be able to speed up our drive-through lines wherever possible. You go to Chick-fil-A and you see like 30 cars in line, but they're able to get through them. We want to be the same vote of confidence for our customers, where they see a long line, okay, Twister's got this, no problem. So we're working on that as well. So it's been a lot.
They're not going to get scared of seeing the long line. They're still going to want to go through the line and pick up their delicious tacos or nachos or whatever they're getting, and be able to say, hey, it's still a drive-through. It's still fast.
Yeah, we do curbside, so certainly the option, if you want to skip the line, order online, pull up in the curbside spot, we'll take your food out to you, and it'll really save everybody a lot of time too. So.
Well, and I think a lot of people are comfortable with that. Personally, I'm not necessarily getting off and going inside anywhere. So I love the curbside and the drive-through. That works for me. But I will get off and go inside if that's what needs to be done. But I do think that offer some sort of a comfort, I guess, to everybody, because you have both sides. You have the people that are like, I'm moving about my day, and then you have the other ones that are like, no, I want to be as safe as possible. So it kind of gives you both options if you want to do that. So speaking of being safe and offering options, one of the big things right now that the restaurant industry is facing is, how do they stay compliant? How do they stay within the guidelines that the governor's office is putting out? And how do they keep their employees safe? And how do they keep the public safe? Because it's a risk. It's a risk every time somebody walks in. I really appreciate what Chris said, because we've even had, we have a very large directory. We've even had in the past a call, somebody saying, asking about Golden Crown because they saw them on some featured, Food Network show, and how do they get there? And they reached out to our convention and tourism department is what it was about it. So I can imagine that you have all these people coming through, even if they're local or not. So what are some of the safety protocols that you guys have had to put in place that's very different than what it was 5 months ago, to ensure the safety? And that kind of will lead us into the conversation of PPE products and how you're moving forward with your staff and the public on that. So let's start with Jeremy on this. I know you have one location that is open, and I know that Cottonwood is either recently reopened, I believe. So talk to us a little bit about what you guys are doing there for your employees and your customers.
All right, sorry, I had to unmute myself. Okay, so yeah, right now we have 2 locations open, the Cottonwood Mall and then the one behind it. Just the same thing. So the mandatory ones that we all probably had to implement, is the glass over the register, the tape, just making sure that there's social distancing, the 6 feet apart. For us, one of the major things is, like, people love to go in there. They like to have an ice cream. They want to relax, want to get off their feet, especially in the mall. Like, the mall is sometimes a little bit taxing. Just, you're there all day, especially with kids. Like, people want to go in and enjoy themselves and dine in. And we've had to completely take all of our tables out because the mall isn't even offering 50% dine in or 20% or anything. So we have to completely cut that out. Our other location, same thing. Like, we had to take out all the dining. So those are like the main things that I'm sure all of us are going to have to deal with. That's just like a mandatory state thing. Other than that, the masks, the masks too, like, to me, that's hard. I'm glad that we're all, having to do this. We're all keeping safe, and it's just for appearance reasons as well as just as much as sanitary. So we all are dealing with the mask thing. It makes it a little bit harder for people to communicate, especially when there's a lot of things going on, but we do what we got to do. Other than that, we just make sure that we are really on top of our employees' sanitation. So after every visit, we're all constantly wiping down handles, sanitizing everything, utensils. So in a sense, nothing really changed for us too much because we're in the food industry. Like, we were doing all these practices to begin with, but now I think it just puts everything into perspective and makes everybody a little bit more aware of the things that everyone needs to be doing just to be keeping everything safe and clean, especially in food handling businesses like ours. So other than that, it's just, a learning curve, and we got to get everyone used to how things are supposed to be ran for now. So.
Yeah, and I think that you're right. There's those few things that everybody has to do, and then there's some that people have gone, maybe extra, or they've added something to. So I want to go over to Chris for a little bit. I know you guys are hands-on. You're working in your bakery every day. You're working with dough. You're working with the food, and I know you have a lot of bakers. What are some of the things that you guys have had to adjust to with the new guidelines, and how are you working that in with employees? And I want to move over to Sagar after Chris, because I want to talk to you about how do you have so many employees adjust to the use of masks and the new guidelines. So Chris, let's start with you. Chris, you're on mute. Sorry.
There has not been a big change on the backside of what we're doing other than wearing masks and all the sanitation that we've been doing all these years that we're required to do by the health department, but everything else that we always normally do, there's no big change other than wearing masks in there. The biggest problem that we have is actually the customer side, is the customers walking in without a mask, number one, even though there's like 10 signs as they're walking in, you got to wear a mask. Educating the customer to stop touching their face, because they keep on touching their face to move the mask. What they'll do is they'll grab the mask, to pull it off so they can talk, and then they put it back on. I'm like, we can hear you just fine. Stop touching your mask. And it's kind of hard when the customers are doing that. And then you tell them, look, you just touched your face. The whole point of wearing the mask is so you don't spread it. So I need you to sanitize your hands before you touch anything else in my place. Matter of fact, there's a hand sink right over there for you guys to wash. It's by the restrooms. But that's the harder part is working with the customers themselves and educating them on what they have to do. We've had customers flat out walk out because they don't want to wear a mask. They walk in with no mask, and I give masks away. Masks are $1 a pop. That's our cost. And I'm like, here's a mask for you. Do you have one? And I've had customers throw big old fits in the lobby. So it's not the employee side that I have problems with. It's the customer side, because they're not used to going into a place and following regulations like we have to follow regulations. We have processes that we have to follow. We have to have our delis a certain temperature. We have to be washing our hands constantly. All that type of stuff is still pretty much exactly the same. Is that now we're applying the regulations as us as restaurant owners and staff to the customer. Now they have to be a part of that regulation process as well. And that's the biggest problem that I have, is that now the customer has to do it. Like, for example, we used to have free refills. I'll still do free refills, but here's the thing. You can't bring in the cup inside the place. You can't eat or drink inside our building. You have to throw it out. When you walk back in, I'll do a new cup, and we have a soda fountain gun, and I'll get you a new flavor, whatever it is, and I'll give you your refill. But people are not comprehending that. People, like, we have their pastry, and as they start walking out the place, they're already eating it. I'm like, you can't do that. That's not how it works anymore, and they're having the hard time understanding that these are regulations we have. Now, if any of us get COVID, we have to shut the whole place down. Then we have to hire a professional team to come through and sanitize the whole place. We have to stay under quarantine for 3 weeks. We're not going to survive that. So sometimes I'll get a rebuttal from a customer. I'm like, are you going to pay the cleaning bill? Just because you're here for 5 minutes, I do not want your 5-minute visit to affect my company. I lose it forever. This is a family business. We've been around since 1972. This is it.
I think you bring up a couple of good points. I first want to point out that for most restaurants, since we're talking about restaurants today, cleanliness was already part of what you guys did day to day. So I don't know that that's been a real adjustment. I do think the masks have been a real adjustment, but I think what I really picked up from you, Chris, just now is the fact that the public needs some big time education on the use of these products. It's like, a new students coming to class, and there's a new program or new SOP they have to learn. And so I just want to say to everybody out there, for the remainder of this month, for the month of August, there's 6 days. There's 6 webinars left. We're actually stealing the first Wednesday in September, just so you guys know. So for the next 3 Mondays and next 3 Wednesdays, we're actually working with New Mexico Tech, who will be teaching us proper use of PPE equipment. And I think the important thing that we need to learn there is, like Chris said, it's the purpose of what you're doing. And I think that, naturally we're uncomfortable. That's not what we do. So we tend to move and adjust a lot. But I think that little bit of information about telling people, hey, you're only in here to order for 10 minutes, or something like that. You don't have to sit here and wear it for an hour, and helping people understand the importance of not spreading and how it affects a small business. If you have to pay thousands of dollars to get a deep clean, let your employees go for 3 weeks, cost you revenue, I think maybe that the public would understand a little more how hard it is. It's kind of like having to police people wearing masks. Business owners shouldn't have to do that. And so it should basically, if that's what your rule is, then we have to follow that, or we don't go there. And those are things that we have to teach the public, to kind of be courteous, understanding, and patient with the small business, with any restaurant in town, because they have to follow these guidelines. And so thank you, Chris, for bringing that up, because we will address it the entire month of August on proper use. The other thing that we're going to do is we're going to talk about longevity of those products. I think sometimes people don't know how to use masks. They don't know how to use sanitizer, and everything is spray. And, so it's real important that when you're not touching your mask, you can wear it longer. And there's just different things like that. So we're going to talk with New Mexico Tech about that. So I'm going to move over to Sagar on this same topic of PPE equipment, because I can imagine what you guys are having to do with that many employees, that much staff. And how are your employees adjusting to wearing masks, while they're cooking and, you're in a hot kitchen all day long?
Yeah, and so you kind of nailed it. And I'd like to echo Chris's statements as well. I mean, the biggest challenge is really from the customer perspective on both sides. I mean, some of them don't want to wear masks, and some of them point fingers that say, hey, this person's not wearing masks. But in reality, that person has a breathing condition or some other thing that they've already given us documentation of. So instead of judging that person for not wearing a mask, they're just kind of, or they are judging that person for not wearing masks instead of understanding what the real reason is behind it. So we've done a lot of things to keep an eye on stuff. So we hired, our same company we use for our cameras monitoring system, introduced a new service for safety audits, COVID audits. So they're constantly, it's a big company, DTT. They did all the Vegas casinos and did their monitoring and everything else. And so when those kind of shut down, they had their own business to take care of. So they said, okay, why don't we come up with this new line of service and really watch? So they already have all the people watching cameras all day long. They used to, instead of watching casinos, now they're watching our restaurants and giving us a report daily that, okay, this is what your staff is doing. Here's everyone who's in PPE compliance and who's not in compliance, if anybody. And so we can see on the camera, okay, that person's not wearing a mask. Oh, do they have a letter that says they have a health issue or anything else like that? Yes, they do. Okay, no problem. And they're not just tracking health, they're tracking speed of service, they're tracking everything. Anything that you can see in the camera, is a safe closed, et cetera, we get a really good report from that side. So we really created another set of eyes and ears on everything. At the store level, we have a safety captain who's not our general manager. So the general manager already has enough to kind of worry about. Okay, safety captain's in charge of the timer system, that when you wash hands, when you change gloves, keep everybody else in check as well. And they report to now the safety director that we brought on board as well. And we put a system in place because again, we're only as strong as our weakest link. So we have about 350 employees currently. We're looking to bring on some more, but any one of them could be a loose cannon and create a challenge for all of our restaurants. So we really, really want to be as strong as possible. We've got a lot of redundancies. Our managers probably hate some of the things that we've done because they need to do the same thing 3 times in a row. But this is how we're doing it to kind of keep everybody safe. But we can't afford to be shut down either for 2-3 weeks. So we use a company called ZenPut that they go in and do a checklist every time, and they have a time, like it needs to be done by 9 o'clock. So they have to go in, fill it out, upload pictures that it's done, etc. If it's not done, I get a flag, the district manager get a flag, our director of operations gets a flag. Everyone says, okay, this store didn't do it by this time. 9:01, we're calling them saying, where is it? Let's get it done. And within 5 minutes, we're all there. So yeah, it's been a lot. And like I said, our managers have to adapt to a lot of change. And we haven't even talked about the supply chain side of things, what's in stock, what's not in stock. That's a whole other kind of ball game. But it's definitely not business as usual, even if you see a line out the door or anything like that.
So I'm really glad that you brought up supply chain, because really kind of goes with our next question that came in. And one of those questions is, and we'll just kind of move the opposite direction. I'm going to go back to Chris and then to Jeremy. What has really been the hardest change? This is where we want to get a little real right now with the viewing audience and with the community. And I know that everybody is staying as positive as they can. You guys have businesses that are going to get through this. We have Jeremy, a newer business that's actually growing during COVID. We have Chris, who's got 30, 40 years of family history. And then we have Twisters that is just so many locations that everybody's going to make it through this. But really, really, what have been some of the hardships? And I know from phone calls, dealing with clients all day, one of the biggest has been supply chain. But I'm going to let you guys tell us in your business what has been really truthfully the hardest adjustment. And what are you doing to overcome that and kind of maintain positivity for your clients and your staff?
So for us, it's not so much supply chain in a sense that everybody else is kind of be used to, is because we're in a dry goods type of product. Sacks of flour, we buy a ton a week. Yeast, we we have like 30 cases of yeast on hand. So one of the things that we did do for us and to help our customers is we actually opened up all our supplies that we buy that customers could buy, because there was a yeast shortage. People couldn't buy flour. People started baking at home, stuff like that. So we actually open up all our products that we have that we buy, and then people can buy off our website, or they can have it delivered through Grubhub or DoorDash. Any like yeast or salt, sugar, flours, all the different kinds of flours and stuff. So the one thing that has hurt us is because now I'm now a closing person instead of being a baker. The amount of baked goods we can make has been reduced. So we just pretty much stay to the main products that we were able to do. We used to do tres leches cakes quite a bit. I just don't have the time to do tres leches cake because I'm taking care of customers, or I'm making pizzas, or I'm cleaning up and stuff like that. So that's kind of where it is, because all our stuff is made in-house. You know, there's nothing done outside of house. We roast our own coffee. We get coffee beans shipped in that are green, and we roast them all in-house. So all that process takes time for us to be able to do it. So supply chain wise, I mean, the only thing that we've had to cut out with avocados, they just got too expensive. So we just cut that menu portion out. But other than that, everything else is pretty much exactly the same. That's been the biggest challenge. You know, that's pretty much about it.
Well, I'm glad that's been the biggest challenge, because it sounds like you found ways to overcome it. And again, just focusing on, you know, what does the future look like? And we say around here, the future's fluid. What happens today is not what's going to happen tomorrow. It changes every single day. And I think that the biggest change for everybody has really been how to live in that world, that fluid world. So I'm glad, Chris, that you guys are hanging in there. You know, we appreciate that. So Jeremy, what have been some of the real challenges that you guys are going through, especially with opening a new location at this time? Because you know that was already in the works before COVID even hit. So please tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so it was actually the third location was scheduled to be open already. And then COVID hit, we completely had to halt construction, because in the first few months, everything was super chaotic. Now we all kind of have a grasp on things. We know how to move forward. We kind of know what to expect, and we kind of know, you know, what precautions to take for the future. In my business, the biggest, like the supply has been pretty much the same, where we have a few local suppliers that we really had no issues with. Our biggest challenge, I would say, is just getting people in the door now. Being that we don't have like a drive-through, and we're not, so like all these places who are jam-packed, Chick-fil-A, Popeyes, all these places have the most ridiculous line I've ever seen. And like Dutch Bros, they just opened. So these companies have been around for a long time. They're already branded. It's me, I'm only a little over a 2-year-old company. Like branding and all of that takes time. So our biggest challenge is just trying to draw traffic. And the category that I fall under is, you know, it's ice cream. It's handmade rolled ice cream. The product is excellent. We put a lot of pride and we put a lot of effort into maintaining our menu and our product and freshness and cleanliness. But reality is we fall under like more of a luxury. Like everybody has to eat. Everybody's going to be going to Twister's to get their burrito. They're going to be going to get their baking goods, all this stuff. So we fall a little bit under like a luxury. So that's been my biggest hurdle, I would say, is just trying to make sure that we, you know, obviously stay afloat, and we're all in business to make a profit as well. So we just need to try to drive traffic to our locations, and that's really been my biggest hurdle so far. So.
And I'm so bummed, Jeremy, because right when COVID hit, we were going to be doing a big ribbon cutting for you and trying to help drive that traffic. So we're going to do it. We're still doing it. It's just in a different way. But we're going to still hold to that and make sure we do some big stuff for you guys there on the west side as soon as we can. I had a call this morning from a customer in a different industry that says, okay, I'm ready to open. When can we do this big ribbon cutting? And when can we bring 100 people? And I was like, yeah, that's probably not going to happen before the end of the year. But again, it's just it's been trying for everybody, but we'll do our best, and you know, everybody out there watching, you know, visit Roll and Dash and visit Golden Crown and visit Twisters. You guys have options all over the city. And, you know, our goal is to always support local, always support our local businesses as much as possible. These guys are, like Chris said, taking money out of their pockets to make sure that they survive this. And that is hard when you're also supporting your own family and trying to make your own living at the same time. So we appreciate that. Sagar, what has been some, you know, one or two of the biggest challenges you have been going through the last few months and adjusting to with COVID?
Yeah, for us, I mean, I had my challenges as far as, I mean, getting the team on board, working remotely, everything else, supply chain, I mean, at a business level. But really, the number one challenge is communication, right? How do we get all of our employees, all of our customers to understand what are the changes that we're making? Why are we making them? How does it impact them? Hopefully, they understand the positive reasons behind it. And like 3 weeks ago, something like that, our bank said we're out of change, we're out of coins. Okay, well, I have to now tell my managers cash only, who then have to tell all of our employees, or no, sorry, all of our customers, I mean, when you pay cash, exact change only, sorry, not cash only, but exact change only. If you don't have exact change, we can't give you change. I mean, just stuff like that you never really would have thought about 6 months ago is coming up, and just having to roll that down the pipeline so that everybody can speak the same language, can understand the same thing. And yeah, we're going to miss a few here and there, but really that's the most important thing for us, is being able to educate our customers, our employees. And if you guys aren't following us on social media, and I don't want to be a hard sales, but visit our website for any updates. I mean, join our email club, join our text club. I mean, that's really the best way to communicate, and let us communicate with you guys what we're up to, and I mean, really drive the message home, because sometimes you just have a person that says, hey, exact change only. Why? Well, and we got to be able to communicate this all the way across the board. And that's been our number one challenge. And then of course, everything else. I mean, my world's been rocked in a lot of ways as CFO, and being able to put everything working behind the scenes, but hats off to the guys that have been dealing with it at the customer level, at the employee level, and really making it work in our stores.
Yeah, and I believe that communication has been a challenge for everybody because we have such a unique way of communicating now. I mean, 5 months ago, we would have never done a virtual meeting. I mean, you call in, we did conference calls. You know, somebody couldn't make it to a meeting, they'd call and you put the phone down and they'd listen to the call. But so we're all really working in a different world in such a quick time, learning how to communicate with each other. And so I do believe that communication has been a big issue for everybody. So as we start to wind down the hour, I just want to hear from you guys. What is, in closing, some of the things that you'd like to say, you know, maybe address the public a little bit with anything. And then also, you know, what would you like us to know about you and your business as we start to close down the hour? And Chris, I'm going to move over to you.
There we go. Now I'm unmuted. You know, like the biggest things right now, and I kind of noticed that with the Twisters, is switching a point of sale system that's more conducive for this type of businesses that we're in. Like curbside to go is extremely important. You know, right now, one of the biggest things with our new POS system we're getting is that we're having a text message sent out letting the customers know that their order is ready. So we're trying to get the amount of time that they're coming to pick up their order in and out. That's going to be the biggest key for us to open up our patio, is letting customers know that they can come to a window, grab their item because it's ready, and then they can go sit down and hang out on the patio itself. So there's going to be some adjustments that we're going to be able to make with it, but we're mostly moving to a self-serve type of thing, and that's even with order taking the process itself. We have an older customer base, and so they struggle a lot with placing orders online. But because we made this a firm decision with our business that we are no longer taking phone call orders unless you're an old viejita and you don't know how to work a phone or a computer, and that's all you can do is call us in, we'll take your order. But that's going to be pretty much the only exception. Other than that, everybody else has a smartphone. Everybody knows how to work a computer. Help us survive and keep on enjoying our products that we're able to take a lot of pride in. And by doing all that, it has made us more efficient. It makes the environment for our team a lot more enjoyable. It makes the time for the customer a lot more enjoyable too, because they get their order, they come in, they get out real quickly. So I'm looking forward to our transition to a new point of sale system. And then you having that new communication with the customers, because we have a really good loyalty program, but this new loyalty program that we're putting onto the bakery is just going to set it on fire and really make the excitement for the customer to come in and enjoy it. One of the cool things that this new loyalty program is going to do is we're going to have a little scratcher that you do with your phone, and we're probably going to give away like 20 or 30 6-foot subs. So we can do 6-foot subs, cold meat, everything on there. And we have about 60,000 customers on our database for our Perks Club. So we'll give a whole bunch of 6-foot subs away and give a reason for customers to download our new app that'll be coming out. So we're very hands-on, personally wise. When customers walk in, hey, all kids get a free biscochito. How's your day? Actually asking how the day, and people like meaningfully ask how their day is. How's their trip? Notice that they come from Pennsylvania or wherever it is. Really get to know our customers. So that whole point we lost. So by switching over to this new interactive club system for our customers, I think we're going to be able to regain that in a different way. The biggest thing for us in this, talking out to the public, is learn how to wear a mask properly. You don't need to pull a mask off to talk and put it back in. Learn how to project your voice. Yes, we have to wear a mask, but you're only inside my place for 5 minutes. Just learn how to do it right. Make sure you have your hands sanitized. If not, we have sanitizer for you. So help us stay in business by doing those type of things so we don't get shut down, because I'm hearing through the grapevine different locations throughout the whole city are getting shut down because of somebody tested positive for COVID. If we test positive for COVID, Golden Crown will never be around again. We're done. I already used all my financial reserves.
Well, Chris, we don't want that to happen, and I want to be part of that little viejita list because I still text you my orders. So
Stop it. Stop it. The whole thing.
I should just text you, Chris.
I put the whole menu online. So I'm doing a job of what it takes about 10 people to do.
Yeah, I know.
When you're doing Grubhub, Uber Eats, DoorDash, Postmates. You have to update all those menus yourself. You have to put up all the stuff, the pictures, the descriptions, and then making sure everything is unison. So I spend hundreds of hours with my computers setting it all up. So you can take 5 minutes to learn how to use your phone.
I am. I'm going to be forced to go online for everything. But it is the right way to do it. If it helps your business run more efficiently, you have to do what you have to do for your business. And of course, we're going to follow that because we want you guys to, like I said, give us another 30 or 40 here in the community. I want to move over to Jeremy. Jeremy, same question. What has really been the biggest challenge? We didn't really talk a lot about finances, but I mean, whatever it is, not everybody had a financial stress at this time. A lot of people, like you said, had marketing, had supply chain. So what has Roll & Dash really had to face, and what can we look forward to now coming up as we start to begin to reopen?
So in closing, I just want to tell everybody that, so far we appreciate everybody's business. We know this is a trying time, so we appreciate everyone still coming out and supporting, small businesses, large businesses, everything in our community. We will always just be looking to create new, innovative ways in terms of ordering, whether that's online or curbside, whatever it may be. We're always look forward to just, progressing. We're just going to keep doing what we're doing. We want to make sure that we provide excellent service, cleanliness, just so that people feel safe and we keep everybody healthy, really. Finances, just like everyone else, we're all faced with hardship. A lack of customers, a lack of flow, it affects everybody's bank. So, it is what it is so far. And, we just push through it basically. But, other than that, like I said, we appreciate everyone's business. Tell your friends, tell your family, come enjoy some ice cream. And other than that, I hope everyone stays safe.
Thanks, Jeremy. Sagar, same question.
Yeah, so in closing, definitely thank you everybody who's been supporting us. Thank you, Shannon, for the Feed the Frontlines program and helping us in a few other areas as well. I know talking to my customers, one thing we didn't bring up was that we actually used the Bernalillo County Sheriff Department that Shannon connected us with to train our employees on de-escalation and how to deal with kind of customers not wearing masks and everything else. So that was a big help as well. And the third parties are great. I know they're convenient, but really from the business side of things, if you can order from our website, that really makes a much bigger difference on our bottom line. It actually saves you guys some money as well because I can pass those savings on. So our menu online is cheaper than ordering on DoorDash and Grubhub. So it's a win-win situation. you save the line, you save some money, we make some money in the process. And as just one other closing statement surprise, I want to introduce our COO, Bajat. He was in another meeting, but he's available now. Just say hi real quick.
Yes. Hello, everybody. I don't know if you can see me. Hopefully you can see me. So my name is.
Bajat, we're excited to have you. It's very nice to finally meet you in person and virtual person, and we're excited to have you, and we look forward to working with you and your team. So welcome to the Hispano Chamber community, and welcome to your new position. So we're excited to have you.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here. I have 35 years experience in the restaurant business. I'm very, very excited to be living in Albuquerque and working with Twisters. We have so much to do, to have fun and add value to the community. I'm so looking forward to it. I met a lot of folks yesterday in our business after hours yesterday. It was a great gathering as well. So I'm meeting great folks from Albuquerque every day. So thank you for the warm welcome. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, we're looking forward to working with all you guys. And in closing, before we go, I would like to take this opportunity to share with the viewing public a little bit about our partnerships with these restaurants and locations in the city. So I first want to say a huge thank you to Sagar and team at Twisters. You know, they were the first ones that reached out when we got the order, and they said, what can we do to take care of our frontline workers? They're going to be in a very heavy-handed situation, and the least we can do is try to deliver some food to help them keep them nourished and make their day. And in partnership with the Gladiators for 2 months, we did a Feed the Front Lines program. It was incredibly successful. To this day, I have people calling and saying, can we get a delivery? Had to let them know that ended. But the point being, there's been no other way to say thank you to the community from Twisters and from us to say to Twisters, thank you for your generosity. That was incredible. Thousands of dollars in food was given away, and the frontline responders are still very, very thankful. Hospitals, nurses, law enforcement, cafeteria workers for APS, you know, animal rescue, all the people that people forget that are still keeping us open and moving. So thank you to Twisters. I want to say a huge thank you to Chris and Pratt Morales. If you guys ever in the future have the opportunity to get to sit down and talk with Chris and Pratt, they're full of surprises as you get to know them. They have such a great, unique history, unique background. Pratt is a hoot to spend time with for sure. And you guys have been recognized across the world in so many ways, from Food Network to the New York Times to everything you guys do. And you're a little hidden gem right here in the center of our city. And I encourage everybody, when you're looking for the best sandwich and the best pizza in town, give them a call, order online, go online and order. But it really helps to keep that history open, that legacy continuing over the next few decades, because I tell you, green chili bread, empanadas, bizcochitos, some of the best in the world, and they're right here, recognized worldwide right here. So thank you, Chris, for everything you do for us and for always supporting us as well. And we thank you for the partnership. And I'll tell you guys, Roll and Dash, so this is kind of fun. They're a little bit newer to the community, but it doesn't mean anything. They're growing during this time. And pretty soon Santa Fe is going to have the option to taste their delicious treats as well. So I want to say, you know, Jeremy and I are building our business relationship now. And a couple of weeks ago, he was selected to participate in our Business Accelerator program that we're doing here. Thank you to the United States Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, as well as Wells Fargo, for supporting the Avanzad program, and where we take businesses that do about $250,000 a year to $1 million a year, and we teach them over the course of a year how to scale to the next level. And so congratulations to Jeremy and Roll and Dash for participating and being selected to do that program. We're going to touch base with him in about a year to find out, since they just started, but it's a great opportunity for him to network and meet other people. Birthday parties, whatever it may be, give them a call and set up a way to purchase rolled ice cream. It's absolutely delicious, and we're excited to have you guys on board. So we thank you guys, as always, for spending your Wednesday lunchtime with us. We look forward to the rest of the month talking about COVID practices, working with different industries, spas and salons and retail. And we're gonna be tackling all of those issues, sharing some best practices. I hope you guys learned a little bit today. I hope we are responsible citizens as we patron these businesses and we adhere to what works for them. We want them to stay open. We want them to grow. We want them to be successful. And we want this to be a thing of the past sooner than later. So thank you, everybody. Happy Wednesday from the Albuquerque Hispano Chamber. Have a great day, and we will see you guys next Monday. Bye-bye.